Welcome to the Underground Sound, everyone. I am DJ X Tech. With me, as always, is Carlos Fandango. We are
Hello.
putting the us back into the music. So, Carl, how you doing?
I'm doing really well, actually. We've had a good long Jubilee weekend of obviously the Queen's Platinum Jubilee, so there's been lots going on in the country. I've mostly been, however, decorating and painting and scraping and sanding. So I've not been out much to enjoy it, but I've seen it highlights and it's been very good. I'm okay. How about you?
I'm doing all right. It's
Hmm?
just busy week, busy weekend. But hey, at least we can get together and record the show. I know that we were going to do this Friday. We did obviously have some technical difficulties on the Mac. It seems like the Mac is giving me more trouble than what it should now for whatever reason.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't highlight tabs. It wouldn't allow us to log on to our underground sound page. It just kept on kind of like going into this constant like kind of like recycle
Mm.
here. And so for those of you that don't know this yet, we do have this thing going on here. We are now on Slaps, the Underground Sound. Um, and what we're going to be doing is later on, I'll post a link for everybody, obviously, in the description of this video below. So if you want to join us on the Underground Sound on our page here, give us a follow and everything like that. Later on, when we have enough going on here, when we have a higher CTR and everything like that, we will be offering this space for musicians to send us MP3s, and then we'll upload them here. So in hopes of a little bit more promotion for the indie musicians. As far as the ones and twos are concerned, the ones and twos underground will no longer be accepting submissions from CD Baby, and obviously, if you have a record label, then please don't submit, because that gives us copyright strikes, and that kind of like makes me redo the video all over again, and it's really draining and time consuming just to edit these videos as is. So just going to kind of keep it like that. I didn't know that CD Baby considered themselves a record label now, which is what they do. So two submissions were from CD Baby, and one of them was from Sony Records. Those obviously got copies striked and or copy struck, whichever way you want to say it, and that would not allow us to put the video up at all, because it just wouldn't play, because those were completely blocked songs. For the most part, songs that we review or songs that are submitted to the ones and twos, they come back with a copyright strike, but it means that there's a copyright strike going in the sense that when the video gets played, the royalties are collected, they're given to the artist, which obviously we have no problem with. This is one of the things that we're doing is exposure. We want artists to make money from their music. So no problems with that. But if you are on a record label, then we just ask that you do not submit. Maybe at that point, upload to Slaps. And it seems like we haven't had any issues with Slaps like that at all.
No,
So
not at all.
good thing. So quickly going to go through a today in music history. Since
Mm.
there was actually a good one lined up for June 3rd, which was the Queen's Jubilee. That was the actual day, right? Yeah. So June 3rd, there was I believe it was like David Bowie, just a multitude of rock stars actually performed a live concert for the Queen's Jubilee back in, I think it was 1977 or something like that. I'll look it up later and just make an annotation of it. But today in let's see. Today in music history, June 5th, 1956, Elvis Presley appeared on ABC TV's Milton Berle Show. 1961, Roy Orbison went #1 on the U.S. chart with Turning Around. It made #9 in the U.K. The B-side Love Hurts also picked up a significant airplay, making Orbison's recording the first version to be a hit. In 1964, the Rolling Stones played their first ever live date in the U.S., and they appeared in the Swing Auditorium in San Bernardino, California. Subsequently, on June 3rd, I believe it's the same year, they launched their tour, at which time grossed $4 million, making it the largest, kind of like grossing live concert that there was. So congratulations to the Rolling Stones on that. 1964. David Bowie, Liza Jane became the first recording to be released as a single by David Bowie, but under the name David Jones with the King Bees.
Mm.
So we'll just do that. I'll try to keep it at 4 for today in music history. And obviously today in music history is also the 3rd edition of the Underground Sound. So
Of course.
June 5th, 2022, the Underground Sound is episode 3. We're going to try to keep this at 90 minutes.
Yeah.
Right. We'll see.
Wish us luck.
We'll see. Yes, we'll see how our comments go here. So the first song that we have going up here is Jared Petty's. Am I reading that right? Yes. Jared Petty's and the Headliners, Black Coffee and Alcohol. So you have listened to this song already, yes, Carl?
Yeah, I've selected some songs that's variety, as well as us choosing some at random for 3 of the 10 or so songs that we've chosen. So I've had a listen, and I thought it was quite a nice, lively opener. So it should kick the show off nicely.
Well, let's do that. Here we go. Jared Petty's Black Coffee and Alcohol.
I tried to make a stand. I was a shaking in a sweat with a gun in my hand. Can't hardly think, it don't matter at all. I've been drinking black coffee and alcohol. Well, I've been here before and I'll be here again. I breathe the dark stick, drink like oxygen. Ain't worried about crashing from withdrawal, 'cause I pump black coffee and alcohol. I start every day with a caffeine high. Can me around my kick just to get me by. Seems like after 8 hours or so, I got a bottle in my hand and nowhere to go. The bottle kill, baby, it's starting to stop. I get tired of climbing, never reaching the top. Come try to cut me open, don't matter at all. Just bleed black coffee and alcohol. Coffee and alcohol.
I think Rookie would enjoy that song.
I think so, yeah. I think it's his kind of music, I think, yeah. That sort of 50s rockabilly, bluesy vibe. I think I can imagine it probably goes down well live with an audience. There's lots of stop-start. I like those kind of stop-start songs where you got the chorus, yeah, where the drums stop on the black coffee bit, and then it's just the vocal going. But yeah, solid vocal for that for that kind of style. You need that kind of vocal, I think. Got a vibra slap at the start, which is really good. I love that. That's always good with me. And I think the guitar in particular on that one, when it comes in with those chords, it really comes in biting hard and heavy, and cuts through nicely. And I think it's really nice, solid song. I don't always listen to sort of bluesy sort of stuff these days so much, unless it's the older blues, original blues stuff, and Robert Johnson and et al. And but this I thought was pretty good, and I can imagine a lot of people liking this and wanting to know about this band.
I do, yeah. So I loved the guitar solo, kind of like in the middle of it. The whole breakdown of the song. It was very well done. But yeah, the intro especially, automatically gives you that kind of like that jazzy kind of bluesy kind of vibe to it, right? Where so as the comment that I left, nicely done, a very energetic track. You can definitely. It's definitely a live song. I could definitely see that on the live, on a live performance. Not that it wouldn't work on a record either, or on the radio. I just I definitely see that one more as being a live performance piece than anything else. And once again, just back to the comment that I made about Rookie, is Rookie likes storytelling, and those lyrics were well written. So I mean, there was a lot going on there. So very nicely done. Great job.
I think so. Yeah, lots of swagger on that one. It was good.
Coming up next, we have 3-Day Weekend by Highland Android. Any kind of...
Well, I just got a message a short while ago, actually, from one of those on Slaps. As I do follow them, they follow me, and it said they've also got a new song out called Dominion. So this is good timing for promoting them as an act. With this one, I like the sound of this one. It's got a nice vibe to it. So I thought this would be a nice one to follow up that sort of big show starter. This is more of a chilled vibe.
Yeah, so this one shows that it's original music and experimental. So yeah, let's have a listen. This is a 3-Day Weekend by Highland Android.
flow. I should have been there after all. 4 years gone, now the house just feels so cold. Tears that flow. I should have been there after all.
That would be another one that I think Rookie would enjoy, just because, once again, I'm sure you saw the comment, just because of the storytelling.
Yeah, that's right. I think again, yeah, lyrically it's very nice, and the song, okay, it's 5 minutes 37, but there's enough going on. I think atmosphere. It's all about the atmosphere, that one, and intro is great. It gets you hooked in and wanting to know what's going to happen next. Then suddenly the beat comes in, the synths come in with the dreamy sort of pad Brian Eno style ambient synth. Then you got that. Well, I think, after that it sort of becomes very 80s, early Depeche Mode, particularly with his lower vocal, and then you've got that high vocal, very much like Depeche Mode, with those sort of that vocal line harmony going on, and I think that's what I mostly like about that. Plus, also I like the fact that he's singing in his true, Scottish accent, and it comes across, and you can hear that, and it just sounds like he's just singing honestly because of that. Really, he's not affected at all. So for me, really love that song. It's just a real dreamy sort of song.
For sure, a very heartfelt song. There's no doubt about that. 4 years go by, as it says. So the only critique that I have is just a little bit of work on the production, honestly. I'm a fan of the vocals being up there, and for this kind of song, especially, the vocals should be, a little bit higher than anything else. But keeping the vocals true to oneself is also, very important. So maybe that's done on purpose. I don't know. The only thing that I would say is it definitely has more of a lo-fi kind of vibe. I really like the twang guitar and that little kind of like piccolo hit that's like going throughout like that doom. It's just that really works. It's just some songs have that little bit of subtlety where it has that one little effect that makes it catchy. And for me, it was that the twang guitar and that piccolo hit that's kind of like going all throughout. Yeah, that would be my only critique, would be to give that bass drum a little more oomph. Just a little bit more. You can put it through some compression. It doesn't necessarily need to, blow the speakers off. It doesn't
Just to cut through more, you mean?
exactly. Just kind of like that boom, because it seems at times that the bass drum is being very overrun with everything else that's kind of going on. So just that little bit more oomph, and but I agree with you that it does have that Depeche Mode quality to it. It's that, once again, that would just be my only critique, because I mean it's a great song overall here.
Mm.
I very much enjoyed it. So we've been doing good the last two songs with you coming up with some good music to listen to. So
Good.
very much enjoyed that. That was once again Highland Android with 3 Day Weekend there, and please go check them out. Get into the description of the video, look up the links, visit these artists, show them some love. for sure. Once again, I should have mentioned this before, at the very beginning of the show. Show is sponsored by Nathan Bashir of Monsters Are Real. Did a little twofer with the ones and twos, and the show since episode 13 didn't kind of like pan off as planned. So by all means, hop into the description again and show Nathan some love. And while you're there, just hit the like, share, subscribe, tell all your friends about what's going on here. So loving it so far. Once again, we've been doing really good the last two shows with finding some great music here.
Yeah, there's some really good music out there. I mean, okay, yeah, sometimes you have to trawl through slaps a bit, but they're in there. I mean, every sort of, sometimes every 30, 40 songs or something, there's a real gem in there. And you think these people really deserve to be heard because they're coming up with some great songs and they're original songs. And, they might be reminiscent of something that they're trying to aspire to, but that's all good, because it's always everybody's trying to aspire to do something as good as what they've heard before or better. Yes. And someone that they like, they're trying to aspire to be. Really good songs out there that just don't get the airplay, do they?
No, they don't. They do not. And that's even more apparent once again with episode 13. If you watch episode 13 of the ones and twos, you'll see exactly what was going on when I had to cut those songs out. The record companies are just seriously making it just that much more difficult to put anything out there at all. YouTube is kind of in cahoots with it because they're obviously the ones that are providing the copyright strikes, but I don't want to say too much about that because we don't want to get banned as well. But it's just really sad. And Sam Black, who's part of Modern Amusement, he recently had said that he's taking all of his music off the major distribution sites, Spotify and so forth, because he's just very kind of like fed up with it that things are going the way that it's going. It's becoming increasingly difficult for underground musicians to actually get their music heard. I'm not going to tell my story now. Maybe I'll tell my story on a separate video, but I actually did have a record contract at one point. I actually made some good money off my first release that I did solo. And, I actually pumped about $2,000 worth of advertising into my most recent release, which was Implant, and honestly made probably about $17 off of that. So that's where we're at here. But fear not, musicians. We are here to help you. Carlos Fandango, myself, and Rookie Rogers, we are looking for that underground talent. We definitely want to promote you. We really want to get this out because honestly, come on, mainstream media sucks. Mainstream radio sucks. We've heard two great songs so far. I'm pretty sure we're going to have more coming up here. My experience with slaps is generally every fourth or fifth song is good, and probably about every 10th song that you'll hear is like a hit. I've done a lot of trolling through slaps as well myself, but really, once again, for the musicians that don't know, if you are looking for a distribution company and you are looking to get your song like on kind of like a different type of social media, hit up DistroKid, distrokid.com for like, what is it, $20 a year? Is the
about that for solo, and about 36-ish, I think, dollars for a dual, where you can have two artists.
Right. And then I think the one that I signed up for, I think it was actually pretty reasonable. I think it was only like about $100 to do a record label. There are some bigger plans when I was releasing my CD at first, but if so, very reasonable. It's $20 for the whole year. We have no affiliation, so DistroKid is not paying us for saying what we're saying. We're just saying this just because if you want to get your music out there, you want to get it heard, then DistroKid is a great way. They keep on updating distribution mediums, so like they'll have YouTube and Apple Music and Amazon and iTunes and all this kind of stuff going on, but they keep on adding new ones into there as well. And Slaps is a great community. Carl and I had met off Slaps. Rookie and I had met through Carl, so it's a great networking site if you really want to get your music out there. And I would say a great 90% of the submissions that I have for the ones and twos and for obviously the underground sound as we have it now has come from Slaps, and about 10% has probably come from Facebook and other media outlets, but definitely more so than anything Slaps. So if you're a musician, you want to get your music out there and don't know how to distribute exactly, please don't go through CD Baby, go through DistroKid, okay? Because CD Baby will just block everything now again because whatever, they have to become a record label all of a sudden.
Yeah.
All right, Carl. I
Right.
think it's time for the Purple Bowl of Destiny.
Ta-da. Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya. Right, okay.
Do we still have real paper?
Right, I'm not going to look. What have we got here? So, oh, okay. So, there should be a category for synth. I don't know if that camera's going to pick that up. Synthwave / retro synthwave.
Synthwave.
So there should be a section on that. Be interesting what comes up.
Can be very interesting.
Let's have a look now. It should be. I've got that Oh dear, what am I doing? I've got that on my categories as well. So
Found it. Synthwave.
Synth pop. Oh yeah, retro synthwave. So there's a retro synthwave and synthwave. So it's up to you which one you choose. You have the choice.
Oh, there's a retro synthwave as well. Because I was just looking for synthwave.
But synthwave's fine. The latest release on the synthwave.
Latest release that I have on the synthwave is a song that's called. Let's get to screen sharing right here.
Hobbytronica.
Hobbytronica posted 2 days ago. Echoes in Space. This group has 1.8 thousand members, and so far 34.4 thousand plays with 808 tracks have been uploaded. So this might be interesting because this is obviously, as you can see here, it's new, so it's just recently updated, but it's been posted 2 days ago. So this is Starlit. Echoes in Space.
That also is actually coming up on the hot as well as the new within that category. So yeah, 90 fire and 56 plays is pretty good.
Join that group right there. 90 fire, 56 plays, 1 save. We're doing good, especially it seems like most of the fires are coming past the intro here. So Echoes in Space. So hello, this is track number 1 of my first EP, Starlit. What do you think about it? Rock and synthwave together. Might be pretty interesting. Let's take a listen. Yeah, very nice jar quality to it, I think. You know, if you think back to Popcorn, it definitely has that kind of like synthy sound to it, right? So it's just seems like kind of like old school. Definitely, I don't feel the rock in there, honestly. No. It's definitely more synthwave than anything else. Electronic and synthwave is where I would go with it. But 1 track, 57 plays now, 4 followers, and you don't speak Spanish either, do you, Carl?
What's the word for no, I don't know. No.
Compositor y diseñador gráfico. So composition, and graphic designer. I'm assuming is that
Oh, okay, yeah, yeah,
composer and graphic designer is what I'm assuming that
yeah.
means.
So the logo will be his own design, I would think.
Yes, kind of like seems that way.
His or her, I should say, because it could be.
We do not know. Yes,
You
absolutely.
didn't know, yeah. It would be wrong for me to presume.
In today's age, yes, it would. No, yeah, but I like it. Like I said, it's kind of short. Kind of short. And once again, when we're talking about production quality, then especially for an electronic song, there was a few things lacking there. The post-production isn't there, the mastering really isn't there. The kick drum really should have been way more poppy on this. But the first thing that I thought about when it started going was, if you recall, Muse had put out that album, Simulation Theory, and they had that kind of like 80s kind of like a vibe going on for most of it, except they added some words to it. I think that the song, if you extended it about another minute to get it closer to 3 and added some some vocals to it, probably could work. Just my
Yeah. I mean, the notes I had was straight away I'm hearing this sort of sound of 1982 to 84 synth pop, sort of Kraftwerk-ish, maybe a little jar. But I'm thinking, oh, well, I'm in already. And I've put rock where there's no rock in it. It's synth. And I think unashamedly it should be synth pop. It's fine. It feels like the end titles of an 80s video movie without any lyrics. So, and I would like the track to have developed a little bit more, but it was, because it's only 2 minutes long, it doesn't have to develop too much, except I had the same thing written down as vocals and question mark in I think, it could easily, it wouldn't suffer for having some vocals over it. There's space for them. It feels like it could fit on there. That would make the song, good, like interesting in terms of then you could extend to 3 minutes, have a little synth break in it as well. But there was enough interesting, to go on for 2 minutes. But if you're going to extend it, then I think having some lyrics or something over it would be good.
That's definitely like you
good
said. I left a couple of fires and everything like that. Is definitely
Yeah.
something that's worth listening to. Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. It's just, once again, extended by a minute, get some really kind of like na 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 vocals in it, and but it works without the vocals also. Even if you extend it to another minute, and you had that kind of like poppiness to it, right? Because once again, Popcorn didn't have any kind of lyrics into it, right? It was just a very simple beat that was twanged in different ways. Dun, 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 dun,
Yes.
dun,
Yeah,
right?
there's a couple of versions. This Hot Butter version was the popular version in the UK. I don't know if it was a hit in America, but yeah, it was basically just very early synthesizers.
Mhm.
I mean, I think the original was I've forgotten his name now. Klaus. Oh, I've forgotten his name. Oh, was it Klaus Wunderlich? It was whoever did all the Moog, I should say.
Is
I've
it?
forgotten his.
I've always said Moog.
Is Moog? Is it? I've just heard so many people say Moog, and I think actually on the Moog, well, what I would call Moog website, they were pronouncing it as Moog because it's German, I suppose. But I don't know. I've heard several people say different ways.
A cow does not say mo.
That's true.
Moo.
Well, but if you watch Family Guy, it's Mwah! or something like that, isn't it?
Huzzah! Or whatever. Yeah. Shazah.
Shazoo!
Ooh, that's exactly what it was.
It most certainly does not.
It certainly does not. No. Yeah. So that. Yeah, I don't know. I've always pronounced it Moog. Maybe it is Moog. I don't know.
Right, I'm going to look up Hot Butter because the original I think was done by because Hot Butter did the original, but the no, I'm sure. Okay, well, I'll come back to it. Oh, that's it. Gershon. The composer was Gershon Kingsley. Now, Gershon Kingsley did use the Moog synthesizer and had the original. That he was the composer. And there's a really good album that he did. It's all about Moog music and stuff, and he just does classical things and his own compositions, and one called I think The Canary or something, and it's just fantastic, just really sort of happy, jolly, silly, sort of simple early synthesizer music, great to get into.
So you're telling me that Jar had nothing to do with?
Oh, Jar wasn't Popcorn, no. That was a band called Hot Butter had the hit with it, but Gershon Kingsley was the originator of that song.
I thought Jar never put out his own version of it.
No, he did do. Oh, he may have done. He may have done later, but it's possible. I'll have a look and see if there's any other versions. But there've been quite a few different versions, including Herb Alpert and the Tijuana Brass,
The
Muppets. The Muppets did a version apparently. Right, the Jean-Michel Jarre Essentials and Rarities. I think he might have done. It says here that he.
Why does this? Carl? Why does this?
Right, I never knew that. Well, that's news to me. So it was while working as a jobbing musician on soundtracks, adverts, and ballet compositions that he was to discover his forte in sound. The young musician recorded Hot Butter's Popcorn under the. So he did a version of it under the moniker of Popcorn Orchestra in 1973. So he did a version of Hot Butter's Popcorn.
See, cheers to DJ X Tech for actually knowing something that he's fucking talking
about. Cheers, old boy. Wow.
My goodness.
That's really good.
Thank goodness for Google at this point. Because if we didn't have Google back in our day, we probably would have been arguing about this until we read it in a book somewhere, so hey.
Yeah,
or found it in like one of the record collections, right? So vinyl or CD, each one of those were popular. All right, so we have let's see what's going on here. So we have how do you pronounce the name? Is it Massage?
I've got to remember. I haven't got the list in front of me. So what was the song called? Oh no, that's no good saying that, is it? How do you spell the first name?
Misagh.
Let's see if I can look it up. Yeah, I'd say Misagh Salias or Salias.
Massage Salas. Salias.
That sounds about right. And let's have a look at him as an artist. Doesn't say, but he's actually in Köln in Germany.
Here we go.
So he might actually be. Because there's a large Turkish, German-Turkish population there, so could be Sag mir niemals Lebewohl. So is it the German title? But I wonder if he's maybe he's just German. It's an unusual name, Misag for German. So I wonder if he's Turkish German. But the title means "Never Tell Me Goodbye."
Never tell me goodbye. Do you know? Are the lyrics in German? Is that what it is?
I'm guessing they might be, yeah. Well, we'll hear it. I'm sure it sounded more. I can't remember now because I did hear it once or twice, but only. But I'm sure it sounded more sort of exotic, like a Asian sort of flavor to it.
Well, let's check it out. So
let's check it out.
We'll stick with Massage. Is just with that H on it. I'm assuming that would be kind of like because Massage. I don't know. Maybe we'll figure that out later, but I'm just going to go with Massage Salias with Sag mir niemals Lebewohl, which is Never Tell Me Goodbye. Let's take a listen.
Du bist heute
Sag mir niemals, lebe wohl. Du weißt, das Leben ist zu kurz. Du brauchst keine Angst zu haben. Halte mich fest wie ein starkes Seil. Halte mich fest wie ein starkes Seil. Du bist meine einzige Person. Sag mir niemals, lebe wohl.
Do you know what? I think that was an amazing fusion. I think you've got the Latinesque guitar, you've got what sounds like German lyrics, but sung in a very Indian, modern Bollywood style with vocals and including the strings in that style. But you've also got then the modern sort of drum pad electronica sort of sound with the beat, subtle beat. So it's just like this really odd fusion of things that somehow works. I think the fact that we don't understand the lyrics, but you can hear it in the vocal that it's kind of like a sort of tender, short and sweet love song. It just I thought it's just a very pretty song.
It was. I agree. Like the annotation that I would put onto it would be like, if you're having a wedding in Europe and you hire a band to play, like this is something that you definitely hear at the wedding. It kind of like has that little bit of like kind of like disco polo kind of like vibe to it. I gotta say, I would have sworn that I heard a little French in there.
Oh wow.
You're
Maybe.
You're saying that it sounds more German than anything. I mean, you're closer to Germany than I am, but
Originally I thought it was Latinesque guitar with a sort of Indian and with a name like Message Salais or Salais, I was thinking, well, it could be Indian and but then I realized because of the title that's Sagmir Nimaus Lebevol. So that's I think German and it looks like German. And the actual lyrics, although sung in a more Bollywood style, I would say, sounded like German lyrics. But then, and German's not the prettiest language to sing in either. Although there are lots of operas in German, and Italian's obviously one of the best languages to sing opera in and so forth. But German lyrics, when you hear a lot of the time, it's not the sort of prettiest melodic language. So it's quite a harsh language in many ways. So to do that in that way, if it is all in German, is quite astounding, I thought.
For sure, because German to me always comes off as like like Rammstein.
Mm.
That's the thing with German people, right? Is I think there was an episode of The Simpsons that actually had that going on where there were like there were like some German guys playing chess or something like that. One of them flips the board over, and he's like, it sounds like he's yelling, but he's actually saying, "Very well done. That was a great game." It sounds very argumentative. So, so to hear it like that, if it is in fact full German, would definitely, definitely puts it into a bit of a more perspective. Like I said, if the intention is to go kind of like that, disco polo, kind of like solo artist, kind of like wedding musician kind of vibe, that was 100% where it's at. As far as like the production quality is concerned, 2 minutes, very short to really kind of like gauge anything out of it, especially since we're not fluent in whatever language that was sung in. Which you're saying,
I just think it's a nice little sweet song that I'd happily play twice in a row and think, oh, that was a bit short, I'll do that again. And So then you've got a 4-minute song. So I don't know. I don't mind a song short and sweet because you've got so many classic tracks from the 50s and 60s that are sub 2 minutes, and some of them a minute and a half. Something like Blue Suede Shoes, barely over a minute and a half, or Surrender by Elvis, fantastic. Turn Out Surrender, version of that, and that's 1 minute 34, something like that. So, and you've got so much packed into those songs, the Beatles songs, Eleanor Rigby. There's so much packed into those 2 minutes. So I think there's enough going on in 2 minutes. And for me, time's never a major issue as long as the song's good. It doesn't matter.
You just mentioned it. I was humming all day long yesterday. Eleanor Rigby in my head.
Oh,
all day long. It was one of those things where I was just like, I thought of it. It's obviously a beautiful song if you haven't heard it. So you need to, if you haven't heard it, like, where the hell have you been? Go listen to it. Like, honestly, the Beatles, Eleanor Rigby, fantastic song. Oh,
well, talking of the Beatles, actually, I was going to say just quickly in German, of course, they sung some of their songs in German. So She Loves You became Sie liebt dich, ja, ja, ja. And then I Want to Hold Your Hand was Komm, gib mir deine Hand.
was it really?
Yeah, so they sung some German versions because they were, reasonably fluent in German because they'd toured a lot over that way, over the in Germany, and so they were sort of familiar with the language and did some German tracks.
I mean, where the hell have the Beatles not been? So it's kind of like, I mean, they were all over India for a long time. So I mean, well, once again, where the hell have they not been? It just got me thinking. What it actually was that on June 3rd in whatever year, because we were supposed to do this on Friday, was that after a photo shoot, Ringo Starr had come down with laryngitis and a tonsil infection, and somebody else had to, I forget the name, but somebody else had to come in and fill in for their tour. So for 11 days, they had another drummer, and I was kind of like thinking, like, what does that have? Okay, so what? Ringo came down with laryngitis. What does that have to do playing the drums, right? I guess I feel like John Lennon probably something like, "Well, fuck you, Ringo, get on the fucking drums, man."
Well, I think it was a big thing because they were so big, and everyone, Ringo had his fans too. It's But I heard actually, there's somebody who's one of those super Beatles fans, one of my friends, who's moved up to Liverpool because he's such a big fan. He wanted to be around the area. And it's a great visit if you ever get a chance to go to Liverpool and see all the Beatles museum and everything. And it's great. And the cavern that they moved across the road and rebuilt. And he said, actually, that story about him having laryngitis, apparently he quit the band and left the band, I've heard. So I don't know what the truth is to it, but he was adamant. He said no, I'd sort of had some inside knowledge from somebody, and he actually quit the band and left, and didn't want to go on that tour and all this kind of thing. So I thought, it's news to me, but who knows? The official story is that he had laryngitis. Yes.
So he quit the band for 11 days.
Well, that's what I heard, but I'm not sure. I mean, he did later do that, actually. I mean, later on, he did actually, during the White Album recordings, he'd quit the band. And then eventually, because he thought his drumming he wasn't, doing the best drumming in the world at the time and all that kind of thing. And there'd been a few ups and downs. So, but then he came back and they'd decked out. I think George Harrison had the whole studio decked out in lots of flowers and, just basically for him when he came back, and we love you, Ringo, kind of thing, and just to try and give him the confidence to say, you are the best drummer in the world, and blah blah blah, blah, and get him back into it. So he had quit the band at one point anyway. Later on,
okay, little bit of Beatles history straight from England, right there. So hey. I never got to see the stuff. I landed at obviously John Lennon Airport in Liverpool when I was visiting Middleton, but I never got a chance to get around and see see any of the Beatles memorabilia there, or the museums for that matter. It was just kind of like, get out of the airport and go home.
Yeah.
Long story in itself. We don't need to get in here. So have you been like fantasizing about androids lately, Carl?
Oh, I see. Is this the second Android song?
We had Highland Android, and now we have Mutineer Androids.
Yeah, and plus we had the sort of synth one. So yeah, I guess I must be. What oddly, shouldn't say this, but when I was doing breakfast, for some reason I can't remember what song came on, but I was just joking around with Susie, and she was making the tea and toast while I was doing the cooked breakfast, full English, and just doing some robotics and stuff, and talking about that earlier. So it must be something on my mind at the moment.
I
To
guess
do with androids, some weird android fantasy. Who knows?
I guess here we go. Mutineer Androids with Earthquake. Track is about the suffering of those that are discriminated against just because of who they love. So let's check it out. This is listed as alternative rock. Here we go. Mutineer Android.
Tears roll, not only the wrinkles on my face. Let them go, forever she will have a place of its own. Using the same rhythm to decide. Sparkling my lies of the fate. Do they really know what they hate? I don't give up, I don't really give up now. I'm ready to go now. I don't get love that you want to see. I don't get low, and now I'm high. I don't get love that you catch my feet. I don't get low, and always I'm high. You say that I'm wrong, I just not in love. If you don't understand, darling, it's wrong. And if you love myself, the body loves the body, moving with the soul. And I love anyone I want to. If you don't understand, darling, it's wrong. I believe in the miracle. I don't get love that you wanna see. I don't get love, and I'm in high. I don't get love that you catch my feet. I don't get love, and always I'm high. I don't have to justify my feelings to you or anyone. I am just trying to find happiness like everyone else. We are at a point in time where we can move forward as mankind and respect every individual's choice and treat them fairly and equally. You say that I'm wrong, I just not in love. I want to. If you don't understand, darling, it's wrong. And if you love myself, so that's wrong. I just not in love. If you don't understand, darling, it's wrong. And if you love myself, the body, moving with the soul. And if you love anyone I want to. If you don't understand, darling, it's wrong.
Right. Mutineer Androids. Oh man, we just wrote right past that one.
Your just to say, Tom, your microphone straight after the song seems very quiet. I'm not sure if mine does as well, but yours, for the first 5 to 10 seconds, it's sort of quite quiet. Then it comes back in gradually.
It's maybe catching up just because I hit the unmute.
Oh, okay.
I'm thinking maybe it has something to do with that.
Right.
We will check. But I do have it recording on a I have the vocals recording on a different thing, and so we'll check.
Okay.
Yeah, let me get your thoughts before I get into mine here. So yeah.
Right. Starts off funky bass, love it, and nice bit of solid guitar and drums. Production is pretty solid. The guitar itself, the rhythm guitar in the pre-chorus really comes into its own, becomes a sort of, the pre-chorus very much sounds like a sort of Nile Rodgers influenced song, like a kind of Get Happy. What's the, no, not Happy. Oh God. Oh, it'll come to me anyway. But basically, yeah, the synth in the chorus, I love that bit. That's a nice little riff. So very retro vibes at that stage, and then suddenly, when the synth comes in as well, that sort of takes it in a slightly different direction to just funky sort of sound. So, but I would say singing style, more of a sort of modern singing style. But because of the retro tinges, it's got a nice fusion of everything. And then, of course, you've got the very early 80s sort of sound, or late 70s thing, where you've got a spoken section. I like that because I like spoken sections in some of my stuff. I do spoken sections because people don't use it enough. And it's really important because that's part of a song is, if you can get a little spoken thing in there, it just gives an extra dimension to the song and the vocals and the singing.
I agree with you. And I had a couple of thoughts on it, which is that whole break in the middle was really good. Obviously, 3/4 of the way through, when we had the spoken word portion, that was done very well. I was actually comparing it in my mind to kind of a fusion between The Weeknd's vocals, kind of like modern,
Yes.
and kind of like if you go back and think about 80s George Michael, then kind of like if you think about a fusion between the two, then I could definitely see that George Michael with kind of like a Weeknd flair to it. So the lyrics were well done. Everything was well done here. I do like the production quality. Just once again with the kick drum on a song like this, would put a little bit more compression behind it myself. Once maybe it was the intention of the song to keep it lighter and kind of like in that George Clinton kind of like funkiness kind of phase to it, right? But overall, I got to say, song quality, production, and everything, I got to say it's like an 8 out of 10 for me.
Yeah, I thought so. Yeah, that was it. It was. I realised what it was. It was the Nile Rodgers when he did combined with Daft Punk to Get Lucky, and that whole album. That sound, it had very much that vibe. So it's definitely with Nile Rodgers type sound and George Clinton sort of funkiness. Then it's definitely rooted in the late 70s, early 80s Parliament sort of era. Yeah,
I was thinking the same thing. This everything kind of like worked with the 80s theme to it. You know what I mean? So definitely catchy, as most songs from the 80s are. So like the 80s spawned a lot of one-hit wonders for a reason, because they were doing something right. So there was always that one catchy song. Without having listened to more from them right now, I don't want to call them one-hit wonders, but that would definitely probably be it, if anything, right? Because like I said, just kind of like I do like the modern twist to it. Like I said, the 80s George Michael with the kind of Weeknd kind of like vocal style, like really does it for me, right? It just brings it into the now instead of like being kind of like in the 80s.
Yeah, absolutely.
So right now, we're going hot off the press.
Oh,
and guess what? It's not hip hop.
Right.
Yeah, which is just kind of this is very unusual. So electronic and metal thrown together, hot off the press, brand new on Slaps, posted 8 minutes ago. This is from Grim Physician. Song is called "The One Without a Name." Like literally one play, no fires, no saves, nothing yet. So this is hot off the presses, folks. All right, Carl.
Right. So what they called Grim Physician.
Grim Physician. That was the one without a name.
Well, that's an interesting title because that's I've written a few things down actually that I'm thinking. Okay, so that could be it's quite cinematic for a start. So, and I've also written down a few things mainly around the fact that it's quite cinematic because that low. Well, so for a start, you've got that motif with the sort of odd rhythm part at the start with the kick drum. I do have a little bit of an issue with that the heavy metal songs that you get with the very clicky, tappy kick drums, the very sharp kick drum. I can't stand the sound. That wasn't so bad, but they always hit at impossibly fast speeds. That's my sole issue with that. But that odd rhythm at the start returned later on, so I like the fact that that motif came back. Yeah, all of a sudden after that intro, it became a sort of like an electronic heavy synth song. And there are a lot of instrumentals on slaps I've noticed, but the low synth that sounded just like a sort of John Carpenter type of theme tune because he composed a lot of the music for his own films. And then the middle section almost sounded a bit like sort of had influences of the Michael Caine film Get Carter, which is a fantastic soundtrack, classic. And then also, but I thought I've written down cinematic Tarantino, so I can imagine this would be a perfect music for one of those sort of revenge films where somebody's fighting lots of people and that kind of thing, and there's mass slaughter. But at the 3-minute mark, yeah, I like the oh, that's right. Return to the initial intro rhythm, and then sort of got big again. So I don't know. That was really. I wouldn't listen to it loads, but at the same time, there's quite a lot of interesting stuff going on. So I think the composer has thought about it when they're putting it together. Giving it a lot of thought and effort, and it's good. It's right.
Okay. I don't think that this should be classified as electronic or metal. I think that this would be electronic and experimental.
Yeah.
Would be the way that I would go with it. I wouldn't call it metal because even though you had that kind of like metal opening, it really didn't follow through the entire song. Like I literally heard 4 songs here because you went through the kind of like heavy opening, going to like kind of like a mellow kind of like James Bondish theme, which then transformed into like kind of like nothing going on in the middle except for a break. The break was way too long in my opinion, right? Because we had about a good 30 seconds or 40 seconds there where it was just the break and kind of like build up. Like I understand the intent is to build up suspense, but it just didn't do it for me. It just kind of like seemed all over the place. Like it really didn't have like a very singular kind of theme. But to the point that what you're talking about here is seeing this kind of like in a massacre scene or something like that. Like you can see the comment that I left. I can totally picture this being in a video game. Because if you are in a video game and you're kind of like, high kind of like heavy kind of like situation, which, you'll have that like calm down and everything like that. I could definitely see this working in a video game. I'm not so sure that I'd see it working in a movie. I think at just shy of 440, it's too long.
And yeah, I mean, you could use sections of it. So this would be good for a sync library. So he could easily do 1 minute or 30-second or 50-second segments of this, put it on a sync library, and some commercial entity will take a section and use it. I mean, that's ideal for that sort of thing.
Absolutely. But once again, because like you're talking about, like just cutting it down into pieces, which once again, I heard 3 different songs here, 3 different songs, 3 different genres. Because we had a little bit of metal, we had a little bit of suspense, we had a little bit of action, we had a little bit of this, we had a little bit of that. So I would definitely go with the experimental thing, and even trimming that, like let's say that 36.79 seconds right there, where I said like the break is maybe 40 seconds too long. Then cut the break out of there and just keep it going off of there, or better yet, like you said, trim the portions out and just kind of use those as 1 minute clips themselves. So you basically end up with with kind of like 4 or 5 different genres here, right? So overall, I mean, it's not bad. Like I said, like he says, he makes weird electronic music.
Which it was.
Very, very much so. It was weird. It was a little bit of it was a bit eclectic, and I just think that that it just kind of like suffers from not having that particular genre that it's actually kind of like pointed to at the moment.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it was a jack of all trades and master of none.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Yeah.
How are we doing for time? Because we're 6 tracks in now, so that's not bad. It feels like we're doing okay.
We've been going for about an hour.
Oh, okay. So
we're
doing
not
too
bad.
badly.
We're not bad. So let's see. So right now we have the King of Rockets. Let me see if that one actually loads. Because okay, you did it again, Carl.
What have I done?
Or is this error on my part? Oh, it is error on my part. My apologies. I didn't mean to blame you for something that I was doing.
King of
any,
Rockets.
yes, if any blame should be put on Carl completely, because Carl is the list. So if I can't find links, it is all Carlos Fandango's fault. They kind of like pretense to this. Let's see, posted 1 month ago. Oh, so it's been up here for a while. Let's see how we're doing. So we got 45 plays, 18 fires. King of Rockets, straight line. What do you know about this one so far, Carl?
Right. Well, it says here, just another human writing about being human, tuning in to the music gods to channel sound waves that become part of the universe. Enjoy the ride, peace and love. So this person's got 57 followers so far, 21 tracks from Banbury in the UK, and has had 1,029 plays, just about to get the 1,030th.
All right, so I like this. I like the description as thanks for listening. Be good and enjoy your brief time on planet Earth. Sounds like a positive message going on there right now. So, let's check this one out. King of Rockets. This is Straight Line.
on these feet of mine.
King of Rockets with Straight Line. Carl, let's have your thoughts here.
Right, I can. It's an odd one, that one, because it's a bit off kilter and dark, which I like. It's a bit synthy and it's a bit jazzy, bit out there kind of thing. I can hear influences varying from Gary Newman to Heaven 17, Tears for Fears. That's sort of 80s influences, almost Bowie-esque as well. And also Hot Chip with the low and high vocal sound. I could just hear sort of very much Hot Chip sort of sound there. And yeah, and it's like, it's just keeps you off balance, I think, all the way through. The sax came out of nowhere. I mean, normally when I do music, I try and introduce something subtly early on and it's there, but sometimes it's nice to hit people with something out of the blue. I don't like doing it too much, but that, because it's that kind of track, it really works when the sax comes in out of nowhere. Yeah, I thought it's really good. It's just odd, unusual song. I don't hear many like it these days. So, but it's got that sort of 80s roots, I think, is definitely present.
I was gonna say more 90s roots than anything else because like the comment that I posted there was very cake-ish. Love it. Because it kind of like, to me, it grabbed me because it kind of felt like Zappa meets Cake, because I wasn't expecting like the like what you're talking about, like when the trumpet came in there, right? I really wasn't expecting that. So it kind of like gave that big band feeling like what Cake did with with Going the Distance, and like Friend is a 4-letter word, and
Oh, they did Frank Sinatra as well, did they?
Was that
them? Or was it somebody else?
Was it Cake, Frank Sinatra?
Oh, was it somebody else? I'll look it up.
No, maybe it's somebody else. I haven't listened to Cake in a really long time, so Cake is definitely 90-ish, right? But yeah, if you took,
Yes, it was. Yeah.
honestly, if you took Zappa and mixed Cake, I think you get what we had there. Honestly,
Mm-hmm.
I kind of like it because it was weird. It was eclectic. It's kind of
Yeah.
like you don't hear much of that kind of like genre going on anymore, right? With just kind of like being weird and eclectic. Everybody's like kind of like, following a straight line with, okay, this genre means this, and I'm just going to kind of like do this. So just kind of hearing something a little different like that just makes that much more difference. It makes them very memorable.
Mm.
So yeah,
Great.
very funky vibes. I mean, it's just kind of like, it's one of those songs where I would definitely put on a playlist. It's not necessarily that I would want to hear it all the time, but if it came on, I would turn up the volume.
Yeah.
It's kind of, it was definitely one of those things. So nice job, nicely done, I think.
I like it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Unusual.
Let's just take a quick bathroom smoke.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
sure.
So we'll just do that, and we'll just we'll reconvene. So I'm not even going to start the timer because I'll add the timer digitally later. No, actually, why did I do that? Because let's just
Why not?
back. Let's say like 7-8 minutes, whatever it takes to get smoke, or in your case, just pee and refill, I guess.
Exactly that. Yeah.
All right, bye.
See you in a bit.
Be back.
Bye.
Carl's boom that just broke during the break. So Carl's now definitely Freddie Mercurying the boom mic itself right there, and for whatever reason has it wrapped in.
Oh, well, it's digging into my hand a bit, so I just decided to do my makeshift sort of, special.
I thought you were about to bury it. Okay. Put a flag over it. So here we go. So we're back right now, and we have Jesus de los Santos here with Witchcraft. Any kind of preface to this?
With this one, yeah, well, I mean, I think it's be prepared. It's sort of lo-fi. I think it's meant to be a kind of late 1960s sort of production. So bear that in mind, because it's definitely sounds like that. And I don't know, this one's a bit of a quirky one, and the challenge is, I bet you'll have this in your head after the song is finished, because it's quite earwormy, I would say.
Okay. Well, something to look forward to then in that case. Here we go. Here's Witchcraft by Jesus de los Santos.
Witchcraft, witchcraft,
My baby's got a hold on me. My baby's got a hold on me. Witchcraft, la-ti-da-ti-da-ti. Witchcraft, la-ti-da-ti-da-ti. My baby's put a spell on me. Oh, it dwells on me. Searching for love inside her crystal ball. Well, I have the dark looking glass on the wall. Sky in the rain, the clouds and the sun. Mirror, he said she's the one. Witchcraft, la-ti-da-ti-da-ti. Witchcraft, la-ti-da-ti-da-ti. My baby's got a hold on me. My baby's got a hold on me. I'll be your candle, your book and your bed. Hearken to all of the words of the tune. I'll draw the sun and you draw them a moon. Witchcraft, la-ti-da-ti-da-ti. Witchcraft, la-ti-da-ti-da-ti. My baby's got a hold on me. My baby's got a hold on me. Witchcraft, la-ti-da-ti-da-ti. Witchcraft, la-ti-da-ti-da-ti. My baby's put a spell on me. Oh, it dwells on me. Searching for love inside a crystal ball. Well, I have the dark green glass on the wall. Sky in the rain, the clouds and the sun. Mirror, oh mirror, we say you're the one.
What do you think?
Well, I mean, you can see my comment there. So, yep, commercial jingle for sure, or an opening theme for a sitcom 50 style, no doubt, which is absolutely like when you're talking about earwormish, it definitely is. And there's a reason why jingles, excuse me, there's a reason why jingles like that work, is because they are earwormy. They're very memorable. So this is one of those. It would definitely be like if you remember that show I Dream of Jeannie, like this could definitely be like a replacement for their opening theme. You know, it's very catchy, very hooky. You know, it kind of like sucks you into that kind of like 50 style music, 50, 60 style music, right? So yeah, quite enjoyable. I gotta say the production was there. For what it is, like you said, like kind of like a lo-fi kind of rock kind of like feel to it. It's definitely there. So I think that let's check out his profile here. Let's see, oh wow, he doesn't really have much on here, so it's not like
Just that one song so far.
okay, so joined August 4th, 2015.
Oh, wow.
Let's check his Instagram real quick. How to smile.
Ah, so this is probably somebody who, see, this is often the case, and this is why I would encourage people, if you're thinking about releasing music, you know, it's letting a part of you and your soul and yourself out to the world. It's quite a big step, really. But I would encourage you to do it because it feels great when you do it. And you know, might be somebody who's been on slaps for a long time and suddenly thought, you know, I really need to release something, and I've got these songs, but I'm a bit shy, and finally done it. Maybe. When was the actual track released, though?
1 month ago.
All right, so I think it is probably that. Yeah, it might be somebody who's been on here, observing, listening to stuff, and thinking, I'll have a go at that. But it's being brave, you know, enough to put your part of yourself out there, really.
And no, I like that because for the genres, he has listed rock, jazz, pop, singer, songwriter, and then for the influences, which is the Kinks, the Beatles, the Zombies, and the Monkees, which I could definitely see because once again, it has that very campish vibe to it, right?
Well, do you know what I've put? Because I put Donovan Jazzy Period, which is there's elements of that. But when I first heard this song, I thought because of his singing style, he sounded like Ray Davies of the Kings. Now I didn't realise actually I hadn't looked at that part, but I've put sort of mid to late 60s Kinks feel, as if it's a lost track from the Kinks are the Preservation Society, or the Village Green Preservation Society. So it's almost like that's off that album, or Face to Face album, or you know, any of that era from 66 really to 68. Very specifically, I think that production has got it just on the button there. and it's hooky, and it's got an earworm. But I think that's what I was picking up on the Kinks thing. So they've absolutely nailed that Kinks late 60s sound, where Ray Davies was writing songs just like that and singing and delivering songs like that. I loved it. Yeah, really good. Something about that song, I just kept playing it, thinking, I like that, and it was going around witchcraft, like it's
definitely there. It's definitely catchy. 100 catchy. So I mean, it would even work for it would even work for a jingle for a commercial, even these days, just because of that. There's not a lot of memorable music coming out into the mainstream right now.
No.
So
no, most of the tracks are quite annoying, I'd say, and a lot of them are very samey with the sound of music.
Yeah, which is once again, one of my bigger disappointments with hip hop, because that's the thing, is it all just sounds the same. So when you get an artist like the Weeknd, for an example, his stuff is great. And lately, honestly, I've been vibing to Post Malone, Rockstar, especially. I think that song was brilliant. It was just, I don't know. You go through phases these days, I think, rather than having kind of like a fan base going one way. You go through these phases where you hear the stuff that's on the radio and it gets catchy. So last year, summertime, obviously Way Too Sexy by Drake was out there, and that was, kind of like a hot song, but it faded. It kind of like faded into oblivion. And I heard it the other day, and, and it was catchy, but it was like, I didn't really want to hear it, 3 times in a row or anything like that, So it's just kind of like, it was a hit for a minute. And then, it made its money. And I guess the record companies moved on to the, to the next best thing. So, like something like that with Witchcraft, then, being as campy as it is and everything like that, it's still very memorable. I like it.
Yeah, unusual one, a bit different. Just shows people are making these songs out there. They're just really nailing it for what they wanted to do.
Purple Bowl of Destiny, my friend.
Purple Bowl of Destiny. Right, here we go. I've got just to verify. Got the bowl with the categories in.
Yes, we do have real paper.
Got to do it single-handedly, and I shall bring it. Oh, right, okay. Oh, for the underground show, underground sound, we've got the word underground. So the category underground.
All right.
I'm not talking about the Wombles.
Let's see. So we got.
I don't suppose you had the Wombles over there, did you? It was a very, very British program.
What was it?
A kids program called the Wombles in the 1970s. Mike Batt was the composer of the song, but they were the Wombles of Wimbledon Common. They used to tidy up, quite eco-friendly. They used to tidy up all the rubbish and recycle it, and they used to live underground.
I don't recall that.
No, you wouldn't have had that over there.
No, I don't recall it, honestly. No, I do not. Maybe I'll have to look it up for sure. Okay, so
They had some pop singles as well in the charts, like the Banana Splits did.
The Banana Splits.
Mm.
Yeah. Okay. Did you have like Captain Kangaroo over there or anything like that?
No, that's mentioned in that song, isn't it? I would never had Captain Kangaroo.
I think that's the difference. You had certain cartoons there, or Captain Kangaroo wasn't even a cartoon. It was more like a whatever. All right. Here we go. So Purple Bowl of Destiny has chosen. We got Don Lito here, posted 22 hours ago with a song called Let's Get High. So maybe we'll just end up right back in the same discussion. But let's check it out anyway. Purple Bowl of Destiny has spoken.
Where you get these trees from, bro? You fire shit.
Stop it.
Roll that motherfucking blunt, let's get high, let's get high. Spark that motherfucking joint, let's get high, let's get high. Pack that motherfucking bowl, let's get high, let's get high. Rip that motherfucking bone, let's get high, let's get high. I'm coming back down, but I'm still suspended. Finally, the left and right side of my brain became codependent. Cause usually when I play
killer, then blow it out. If you don't come, then you're not getting off. The more heads know what I'm talking about. Fuck a rotation, if you cruise like mine and you like to get high, then stay blazing. How long we been saying this? Legalize it across the nation. I play to lead us to it. Good sativa while I smoke and get repaid. Blow through the hood and the beat of bud. I'm lying on someday. Know where to go, but I'm fresher than the back of pillows. Past stupid doors, so I'm laying on Joe like a pencil. Down pillows, feeling at ease. Watch the wind blow, trees get high with my blow. Motherfucking blunt, let's get high, let's get high. Spark that motherfucking joint, let's get high, let's get high. Pack that motherfucking bowl, let's get high, let's get high. Rip that motherfucking bone, let's get high, let's get high.
Rolling, we choking, we smoking, then we blowing. Break down the coke and get the shit going. Hold up, baby, just stop that shit. Break this shit down real quick. Break this car, break this dope, break this shit, put it in that pipe. Put it in the bar, yeah, light it up real quick. Hold up. Alright, smoke this motherfucking blunt. Ayy, clear this motherfucking bun. Ayy, grab that dope off the dresser. Yeah, put it in your motherfucking lungs. Ayy, came in the business, have fun. Yeah, on the way home, yeah, she won. Yeah, shit so loud that it sound like a horn. Shit so good that it look like porn. SMG, yeah, we have fun. Told her, yeah, she can join. Mary get twisted like a door, now back and forth, back and forth. Yeah, light it, grind it, weed, blunts, light it, grind it, weed, blunts, light it, grind it, weed, blunts, light it, grind it, weed, blunts.
Roll that motherfucking blunt, let's get high, let's get high. Spark that motherfucking joint, let's get high, let's get high. Pack that motherfucking bowl, let's get high, let's get high. Rip that motherfucking bone, let's get high, let's get high.
Shit, we get out, bro.
I'm thinking we can cut it there.
Sorry.
I'm thinking we can cut it there.
Okay.
Yeah. Overuse of graphic language. I have no problem with graphic language. The whole thing is that when every other word is going to be, motherfucker or whatever, it's just kind of like, we go through somebody like Eminem who has like the holds the Guinness Book of World Records for the most words sung in a hit single, which was Rap God at like something like 1,500. I think it was like 1,506 words in 6 minutes and 3 seconds. To just constantly going with motherfucker, 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 and let's get high. So, I don't know. Kind of like, I think it's very gratuitous.
Yeah, I mean, I see. I just have an issue with the amount of songs that swear, or the amount of artists that swear in songs now, and the amount of swearing in songs. I mean, I'm not too prudish or proud, but I think there's a time and a place, and it's obviously rap's one of those genres that has a lot of it. Musically, right? So the music box thing at the start and the disorienting start was I thought pretty good. Yeah, I like a lot of these songs. They tracks, I should say. They've got that sort of thing going on in the background that's quite catchy. I actually thought the chorus, motherfuckers aside, was let's get high, let's get high. It was quite catchy, really. So, if you took out the swearing, you could replace it with actual words, nice, interesting words. And so the vocabulary could be a bit wider. And I think it's, I always want to see what the songs would turn out like if they didn't have all the motherfuckers and everything in, and if they had something else in. So, would it sound worse for it, better for it? Well, I don't think it sound much different for it, but obviously people think it's important to swear in these songs, and that adds a bit of kudos somehow. But I like the good deep vocal effect at the end or towards the end as well. So that was quite good, sort of that Prince deep vocal that he used to use on his songs. It wasn't too bad. I mean, it's all right. It's rap songs. So unless it's done by Kendrick Lamar or Eminem or one of the bigger artists, it's par for the course, really. But it's all right, I suppose. Not my cup of tea, but it's and again, the gratuitous swearing just it turns me off completely. I just think it's so unnecessary. There's been so many good songs in the world without swearing all those years, and then suddenly everyone's fuck this, fuck that shit, cunt, bollocks, fuck, and it's like they've got Tourette's all of a sudden. Everyone's got Tourette's. Fuck, wanker, cunt, shit. Better cut this out.
No, I'm not going to cut that out. That's fine. No, I totally get what you mean. So let's see. Before we go on to our showstopper, Carl.
Oh yeah,
I'd like to play you a song from a friend of mine here. His name is Jamie Salazar. I did a video on the channel with him. He goes by the stage name of Within Me, WITHN. Kind of like looks like a heartbeat, Emmy. So obviously very sad news coming out of the Depeche Mode camp. We talked about it. We were going to talk about it Friday, but obviously for those of you who don't know, Andy Fletcher has died at 60 from Depeche Mode. He is the founding member and the keyboardist. We just went through Bangalus, and now it's kind of like Andy Fletcher. It seems like all the great artists are going way too quick, but I would have to say that this one song I wanted to play for you Friday as the showstopper, but we have one more to go. Do we have one more to go?
Well, technically, the 10 the 10 lined up was You Lie was the last one, and then I also forgot Flood's song. So maybe we can do Flood's one next time, or squeeze it in as a bonus track tonight.
Now let's do that. If you're good with just a couple of more minutes, we're just going just past the 2-hour mark with some stuff to cut out here.
Some motherfuckers to cut out.
Yeah, so we'll but this like if we're going to talk about Depeche Mode, and if there were ever to kind of like to be a kind of like a tribute song to Depeche Mode, I would think that this would be Blood on the, and I love the wordplay also, Blood on the IV, right? So Blood on the IV. But I definitely love the 80s synth style that Jamie has going on with his music and everything like that. So let's take a quick listen, and just this will be my dedication to Depeche Mode, since we can't do any copywritten stuff over here, right? So I'll just say that to Andy
Fletcher.
There you go. Let's listen. Blood on the Edge by Within Me.
Fear. It's how you feel when something's wrong. I know how you think. Make you think so you can walk with me.
once again, Andy Fletcher of Depeche Mode.
Cheers.
Friend. I think that would have been a great tribute song, and I think that Jamie would be should be proud of himself for writing that type of music, because that had Depeche Mode written all over it.
It didn't it? Yes, yeah, very much so. Yeah, I think particularly with the, I mean, obviously the synth sound. I mean, he's got alternative rock, but it's for me, it's sort of that synth rock, synth pop sort of genre. Dark sort of sound as well, but yeah, the Depeche Mode. I mean, I think with the lead vocal almost all through had that very subtle underlying support harmony all the way through, and that was good. I like that kind of thing because it's just it's there, but it's almost like it's one voice. But yeah, I'll put comments on well produced, solid track. I love the synth sound. They implemented it around 2 minutes 45 bit. That was good. Yeah, I like the lead harmony. Very Depeche Mode, which is good again. Yeah, I liked it. Really solid production.
Jamie's got a lot of songs like that. Whether you're going to go back to Skywalker, some of the older stuff that I heard, or he's coming up with new stuff every day here. But I mean, he's a very talented musician. Once again, deserves some recognition, especially for putting a song like that together. It's not easy, obviously, as you know, Carl, because you do everything from front to back pretty much yourself here. I know that you've collaborated with a few artists and everything, but just for all intents and purposes of an argument, then you are a self-made man. You do write, produce, master, and kind of like everything yourself, so the work that goes into just creating one individual sound, even, and then mixing it later into to get it to fit with everything else that's there. Very good to do.
This is the thing. When I think about each song, I approach differently anyway, as he may, and as individual separate tracks. I don't want two songs sounding the same ever, and each must have its unique feel, and that includes creating sounds. I mean, for the Christmas album, I'd saved up for the bird feeders. You get fat in half coconuts. I don't know if you get that same thing in America, but so these coconut shells. So once the birds had their bit, I scraped them out, cleaned them up, and disinfected them, and then used the coconut halves as clip-cloppy hoof sounds, for the horses, and so it's just creating that sound, and then, or it's like another one of the Christmas songs. Louis, my son, he played the I forgot what they called the the name's gone anyway, but stylophone. Now the stylophone, I thought, well, on its own, stylophones sound pretty cool anyway, but I added a flanger over it, and so each of those sounds, and then it's tweaking the sound and the reverb for it, and you can spend easily an hour or two just getting a sound right, and that's just one sound, and it might only appear once in a song for a short segment or for a second, but those details are so important because they have longevity, those sounds. So there, he's got quite a lot of things going on, and he's probably worked hard and for hours and hours and days and days. That's probably in his spare time. If he's not a full-time musician, which most people can't afford to be, then they'll be doing it in any spare time they can get, because you've got your work life, maybe a part-time job, maybe you've got family, maybe you've got kids, and all of that thing you've got to try and fit in, and then create something pretty special there.
All right. So let me ask you a question, Carlos.
Right.
How much time do you have on your hands where you actually let a coconut basically rot, scrape out the ends, so that you can make the hooves?
Well, it depends what's important, because you just fit that in. So, for instance, I'd put them to one side.
I never would have thought of using two coconut halves to actually do that, but now that you mentioned it, I'm like hearing it in my mind, and I'm like, okay, well, yeah, that makes sense.
Well, we had them in school years ago, proper sort of coconut halves and things that were cleaned. But it was Susie's idea, actually. She said about, what about using those? And I'd said, I was going to send off for some or something, see if you can get some musical coconuts. But actually, we had them already there. So it's just a case of scraping them out, heating the water up hot so all the rest of the fat would come off, and then disinfecting them. But it takes time. So I just left them for a while I was doing other things, dried them off while I was doing other things, and it's just doing it in stages. And when they were just sitting in the cupboard for ages until I needed them, so I knew I was going to need them in a particular song. So these things do take time, but sometimes you can spend a long time just getting a sound right. And if you're very particular about it, and it's worth being particular.
So big props and mad shout out to Susie in this case again, because coming up with horse hooves from coconuts. I never would have thought of it. I would have tried to get like a clicker or something, whatever.
It really works well though, yeah.
No, it does. It sounds like the legit thing. For those of you that don't know, Carlos does have a Christmas album that was. Well, I mean, it's been out since last year, but we're going to start promoting it early this year. As does Nathan Brashear has a song called "A Very Metal Christmas." We're going to be getting to that this year. We're going to start getting on it early, so that way we can actually have the independent musicians maybe take a stab at the music market, which is kind of oversaturated with Beyonce, I think personally.
Yep.
But I guess what can you do except to try to get some other stuff out there. Carlos's stuff is brilliant. If you haven't heard it, please hop onto his YouTube channel. You do have it up on your YouTube channel, right? The Christmas stuff.
Yeah, that's all on there. Yeah, it's all on the main music platforms. But this time of year, most people don't tend to listen to it. I mean, I was recording it in midsummer and spring. I was in fact, from January last year, I'd started some of the tracks. But so Susie got to hear Christmas music all through the year. Lucky Susie. Incessantly as well. It's just continuous because I'm always working on thinking, right, what can I do with this bit? And so yeah, she was very lucky that year.
As they say, Christmas in July. So this is going to be our showstopper, folks. Remember one more time, Underground Sound putting the us back into music here. Carlos Fandango and I wish to thank you for joining us. We're still going to make comments here, but just in case anyone's just signing off right now for whatever reason. Thank you once again to Nathan Brashear for being the show sponsor of today's show. Carlos, we're going to be looking forward to the Christmas album. We're going to be pushing that. Nathan, we are going to be doing the same for you as well. Remember, folks, please like, share, subscribe. And if you want to get your music out there to the world, visit distrokid.com. More importantly than distrokid.com, visit slaps.com, find the Underground Sound. The Underground Sound, let us submit your music for you. We got a good thing going on here, I think. It's gaining a following, and which Carlos and I are very happy about. We tried doing this multiple times before. We tried doing it live. Ultimately ended up that doing it pre-recorded is better. So we are taking our time here to expose the underground artists and to say thank you to those that have passed as well from the mainstream. And once again, we don't hate on the mainstream. It's just we don't like the record companies. Let's just leave it at that. So this showstopper here, We Can But Dream by Flood. What can you tell us about this, Carl?
It's just I think it's Trev, and he's contacted me via DistroKid, via Slaps, I guess, but ultimately we direct message through DistroKid, and it seems like a very nice guy, and just got a lot of tracks. We were talking about another track, but it was such a long track that I said, well, maybe we could play one of his other ones. So I fished out this one that I thought was quite a nice one to end on, and he seems like a nice guy, does things in earnest, and I think his music's worth a listen. You should definitely have a listen to it. Check him out. He's on all the mainstream platforms, as most DistroKid music is, and it's definitely worth a listen. You should check him out, and hopefully this is a good example of what he does.
Please stick around for the comments afterwards. If you have to, for whatever reason, once again, jot away. For the Underground Sound, I am DJ X-Tech, and that's Carlos Fandango right there. We'll be back with you in 2 weeks. I shall be back with you in a week with the DJ X-Tech 1s and 2s Underground. But for right now, let's get this one going. This is a Flood, We Can But Dream.
Oh yeah, London. Okay.
Oh, London, UK. Look at that. 250 followers, 2,982 plays, 25 tracks. Right.
Well, that's good. I mean, I've got 56 tracks on there, and I've got about 2,300 plays and about 100. I mean, I don't push on the followers too much, which I should probably do. But so he's doing really well there, you know. So it's 10 followers per track ultimately, which is very good, very good. So he's accumulated a lot and a lot of plays, and he's got a high comments to track ratio. So he obviously interacts with people a lot.
Yes.
Really important. It's a good lesson for everybody on Slaps to learn. Yeah, really do lots of commenting, not just because you're uploading a track, but because you're commenting and interested in other people's music and you want to discover more music and hook up with people. So it's really, really good. You know, it's a good place. He's a great example of someone who, you know, just works that the tools at his disposal on Slaps, really works with them well.
I'm going to listen to more songs today. I'll tell you why I love that song.
Go on.
I absolutely love it. First thing that it reminded me of was Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers.
Ah, okay.
That's the very first thing that it reminded me of, right?
Mm.
Once the vocals started going, 100% what it took me to was Pink Floyd's Learning to Fly.
Interesting. Okay, yeah.
Vocals really took me into that whole different space. It's one of my top 10 favorite songs, Learning to Fly by Pink Floyd. One of my top 10 favorites. And it just, boom, it just reignited like a passion that I have inside of me right there. So just thinking about that, thinking about a song that can actually take you back to another song that has like a completely different, frame of mind for everybody else that's listening. It's definitely there for me. So I absolutely 100%. I love this song. It's brilliant. Very good choice for the showstopper, Carl. Very nicely done. Very nicely. Everything was there. The production was there.
Yeah.
The vocals were there. Listen, for what it is, 6 months ago, 199 plays, 10 saves, 307 fire.
Very good, yeah.
I'm just gonna like pop over here and just give it 1, 2, 3 more. I don't like odd numbers. Sorry.
Shall I add one as well then?
Don't, because now you're gonna bring it to 300.
Yeah, I thought it's a solid production. Ian, so I suppose we should give kudos to Ian Sang as well, Tsang. If you look him up anywhere, I'm sure he does vocals elsewhere. So I've not actually checked out Ian Sang at all, but yeah, solid vocalist. The vocal effect was, I quite like the vocal effect. It was a tight harmony. Probably Ian Sang again. I don't know. I mean, looking at what Flood does, it looks like he does instrumentals and works with guest artists and produces. So, so Flood will write and compose the songs, and where a song might require a vocalist, he uses various vocalists, and usually, the very solid vocals that he uses with most. And Ian Sang's vocals were good, nice and solid, really on point. Nice intro build as well. It's quite a long intro. Reasonable intro, but it's nice build up. But you're right. It is Tom Petty. A bit of Coldplay in there as well. I thought, but in this sort of general feel and the vibe, Coldplay could easily do that sort of song and it'd be a hit. So positive message, but really good, nice, solid song, that one. And I would encourage people to check out more of his stuff because he collaborates a lot, and Slaps and DistroKid works for him very clearly, and it's hooked him up with a lot of different people.
Yes, indeed. One of the biggest things about Slaps that I've noticed is collaboration. You never know. You never know what you're going to do. Maybe you may get a show called The Underground Sound. Maybe you may get a song that's called Walking Through the Strange Town. Maybe you may do what was it? Was it Mom, or was it the Mother's Day song? Which one did you?
Oh, that was Mother's Love. That was for Mother's Day, although we got it released just after the American Mother's Day. But that was Russ Palladino, the saxophonist and horn player and producer and writer, and extremely talented. And I'm lucky enough to have worked with him. And we're doing another track. We're doing a sort of Al Green style 70s soul track now, and because he had some chords kicking around that he didn't know what to do with, and as soon as I'd mentioned about doing an Al Green 70s soul one that I've fancied always doing, he said, "Oh, I might have something for that." So now that's in the offing. So I'm writing the lyrics and doing the melody line, and as we speak.
I personally can't wait to hear it because once again, no matter what you're trying to do, because there's a lot going on here, right? There's a lot going on Slaps. So whether you're looking to collaborate with another musician, whether you're just looking out to put out your own music, whatever the case may be, like believe me, you can build a lot of friendships here. You'll definitely find a lot of like-minded people, which is proof here between Carlos and I. Not only Carlos and I, but Rookie Rogers, Russ Palladino. Want to thank everybody that's contributed to the music and to the show here. Obviously, Nathan Brashear from Monsters Are Real. Want to thank you. Jamie Salazar from Within Me. Want to thank you for that awesome track that you had that we actually got to use as I believe myself personally to be a very nice. Depeche Mode kind of like theme-esque kind of like tribute song. All of you slappers out there that have been posting this great music and everything like that, to all the underground artists, to anybody out there that's really just kind of like working the grind, doing their thing, and just kind of like really wanting to bring lovely stuff to the world here instead of like a whole bunch of hate, which is what's been going on lately and everything like that. Thank you, everybody. So from myself, DJ X Tech, Carlos Fandango, we'll say thank you on behalf of Rookie Rogers. Thanks for joining the Underground Sound, where we're putting the us back into musician here. Maybe since Rookie's here, we'll just. Did I put? Yeah, I did put too much R's on there. Rookie Rogers. I like all this. So for the closing track, we'll use Old Days here, and Carlos and I will chat in a second. So to everybody, have a very pleasant, probably Monday afternoon or Monday evening, because it'll probably take a while for this edited version just to get back, and then I have to edit it after that. So Rookie Rogers with Old Days, and Carl, I'll chat with you on WhatsApp in a second.
Yep. Okay. Take care, folks.
Thank you, everyone.
Hope you enjoyed the show.
Oh, absolutely. We do hope that you enjoy the show, and there will be more to come with this. But take a gander, take a listen to Rookie Rogers right now with Old Days. Thank you very much for once again for tuning in to the Underground Sound, putting us in the musicians or musician
or music.
Putting
us into your music. Putting us back into music.
Let's just put us in the music.
Way back in the day, my mama couldn't afford to be paying on the light bill, gas, electric, and the insurance. So we would kick it with some candles burning, splitting a 40. My moms would sit all of us down in the living room, telling stories about the old days, old ways. In the pickup with the homie sitting, wait for a host, stuck landline, call up, but he needs some hand signs, stand by, ain't nobody seen nothing. Hood rat, who's that? It's the police. Fall back, run fast, Bubba showed me. Gas it up in the cab, hit the payphone, hands up, that's a rap, better get a bank loan. Like back to back, office of wood in the neighborhood, the master rat, and no Tolliver could get a heat, ask for that. No Tolliver could get a heat, ask for that. But Vern and Gus, Nicole and Russ, my sister and Jadelle and Bub, but those of us who started with a broke ass car from the house in the parking lot. Dog don't bite, buddy, he just wanna battle up. Old days, old ways. Old days, old ways. You got the old days. Back in '87, you got the solid brothers, they gon' help you get to heaven. There was 6 of us kids, we was running the clip. 2 big brothers and some sisters, we was coming up quick. brother rolling the caddy, the rest of us on the Blue Jay. At least we all got a ticket. This bus pass good till next Tuesday. Like, why you looking at me for? I'll tell my brother he'll get you. That's what I used to say to vatos who would run up and get you. Then my big sister Gloriana, she would take off her jewelry. Man, this one time behind the alley, she took off on this dude. And between my sister, him and his two friends, she took out the two of them. And the last one she knocked out and asked me, what do I do with them? And this one time my bro, Big Rick, pulled up in the stove. Real rip, nope, I can't tell that, stop it. I'll leave it that we drove it till the wheels fell off it. But back to the picture, the way we grew up in the hood was something from an adventure. We had that cheese block, bimbo bread, milk in a can. We made that grease poppin', fried bologna out of the pan. Back in the old days, learn you about the old days. Learn you about the old days. Back in '87, they called inside the brothers. They gon' help you get to heaven. Sometimes I wonder if modern living is subject to all of the history listed in what we tell our children. I've been telling mine some stories as though what they say is boring. I'm telling them the importance, but they just wanna ignore it. So they'll get a spanking, pay attention, tell me that you're sorry. Hit you with a anecdotal lesson from before me. Like, man, when I was a kid, in the old days, man, it was some bullshit.